You are sitting at a table surrounded by noise. It's a Friday night. The lighting is low, the music is loud, and the people around you are laughing. These are your friends, or at least the people you're terrified of losing. You are laughing too. You have a drink in your hand that costs $18. You're wearing clothes that you haven't fully paid for yet. You are projecting an image of absolute, effortless success. But your heart is hammering against your ribs like a trapped bird. Because you see the waiter coming. He's walking toward the table with the black folder. And in that split second, the laughter around you fades into a dull hum. You are doing mental math that you shouldn't have to do. You are calculating the dates. When does the direct deposit hit? Did the electric bill clear yesterday, or is it pending? You unlock your phone under the table, dimming the screen so no one sees, and you check your balance. 3 digits. You have 3 digits to your name, and you are about to spend 20% of your entire net worth on a meal you didn't even enjoy, just to impress people who are just as broke as you are. The waiter drops the check. The silence that follows is deafening, even if it only lasts a second. Everyone reaches for their wallets with a casual confidence. You mimic them, you act the part. You pull out the card that is heavy, maybe metal, designed to feel like wealth. You place it on the tray, you smile. But when the waiter walks away with it, you stop breathing. You are praying to a god you don't believe in that the chip works, that the bank doesn't flag it, that you didn't miscalculate the pending charges. The 3 minutes he is gone feels like 3 years. You are sweating in your expensive shirt. And this is the moment. This specific, visceral terror is the first symptom of the cancer that is going to eat your life. If you do this in your 20s, if you normalize this terror, if you learn to live with this low-level hum of panic, you are building a cage that you will not escape until you are 65. You are planting the seeds of a regret that will taste like ash in your mouth when you are 40. He comes back, he hands you the folder, you sign. It went through. The dopamine hits you relief, sweet, toxic relief. You survived another night of the performance. Pause. Look at yourself in that moment. Really look. You aren't living in the moment. You aren't enjoying your youth. You are practicing how to be poor. You are training your nervous system to accept high-functioning poverty as a baseline state of existence. You walk out to the car. Let's talk about the car. It's nice. It's shiny. It has features you don't need and horsepower you can't use in traffic. You park it in front of an apartment complex that takes 40% of your take-home pay. You walk inside and you are surrounded by things. Gadgets, furniture, clothes. Look at the pile of Amazon boxes by the door. You don't even remember what's in them. You ordered them on Tuesday because you felt sad or bored or inadequate. You traded hours of your life, hours you sat in a fluorescent office doing work you hate for a boss you despise, to buy a cardboard box of dopamine that will expire the moment you cut the tape. This is the uncomfortable truth nobody is telling you. You think you are acquiring assets. You think you are building a life. But what you are actually doing is digging a hole so deep that the sunlight of freedom will never reach the bottom. You are financing a lifestyle that acts as a parasite on your future. You lay in bed at 3:00 a.m. This is the witching hour for the financially self-sabotaged. The distractions are gone. The Instagram likes have stopped. The friends have gone home. It's just you and the ceiling and the math. The math doesn't care about your feelings. The math doesn't care that you deserve a treat. The math whispers the truth. You are drowning. You are swimming in a sea of debt, treading water with a smile on your face, while the tide pulls you further and further away from the shore. You feel a tightness in your chest. That isn't heartburn. That is your intuition screaming at you. It is trying to tell you that you are making a catastrophic mistake. It is trying to tell you that every swipe, every financing agreement, every pay later click is a shackle you are clamping onto your own ankles. But you push it down. You tell yourself, I'll make more money later. Everyone lives like this. I'm investing in myself. Wrong. You are lying to yourself to protect your ego from the reality of your balance sheet. You are using magical thinking to justify financial suicide. If you do this in your 20s, if you prioritize the appearance of wealth over the actual construction of freedom, you will wake up in 20 years and realize you have been running on a treadmill. You will be tired. You will be older. And you will be exactly where you are right now, only with less time left to fix it. This is the specific, targeted regret we are talking about. It's not about missing a party. It's not about buying the wrong stock. It is the regret of realizing that you sold your freedom for a collection of receipts. You sold your autonomy for the approval of strangers. And the worst part, the system is designed to make you do it. The system loves you right now. It loves your ignorance. It loves your insecurity. It is feasting on your need to fit in. You are the perfect consumer. You are the battery that powers the machine. And unless you wake up, unless you stop the bleeding right now, this Friday night anxiety will become your permanent state of being. You will spend the rest of your life waiting for the waiter to come back with the card, praying it doesn't decline forever. You wake up, the first thing you do isn't stretch, it isn't breathe. You reach for the phone, you scroll, you see a life you don't have. You see a vacation you can't afford. You see a watch that costs more than your student loans. And before your feet even touch the floor, the deficit has started. You feel less than, you feel behind. So you start the day trying to fill that void. You leave the apartment. You walk past the coffee maker on your counter, the one you bought with good intentions, the one gathering dust. You walk into the cafe. It's crowded. It smells like roasted beans and status. You order the drink. It's complex. It has a name you have to practice saying. It costs $7.50. Pause. $7.50. You tap the card. You don't even look at the terminal. It's a reflex. Beep. Done. You don't feel the money leaving. You don't visualize the 30 minutes of work you just traded for a liquid that will be gone in 20 minutes. You just feel the tiny chemical hit of being a consumer. You are the kind of person who buys this coffee. You are participating in the economy. You do this every single morning. That's $2,700 a year. That is a Roth IRA contribution. That is a down payment slice. But you don't see the compounding interest. You only see the cup. Fast forward. It's 2:00 p.m. You're at your desk. You're bored. You're stressed. You get an email notification. Your subscription has renewed. It's for a streaming service you haven't watched in 3 months. It's for a gym app you opened once in January. It's for a software tool you swore you'd learn. $15, $20, $12. You see the notification. You feel a twinge of guilt, a tiny spike of I should cancel that. But you don't. Why? Because canceling feels like admitting failure. Canceling means you aren't the person who goes to the gym or learns the software. So you let it ride. You pay a tax on your own aspirations. You are literally paying a monthly fee to maintain the fantasy of a better version of yourself, while the real version of yourself gets poorer. Fast forward again. It's 7:00 p.m. You're tired, you could cook. There is food in the fridge, but you had a hard day. Your boss was annoying. The commute was long. You deserve a break. You open the delivery app. You scroll. You pick the burger. The burger is $12. Reasonable. Then comes the delivery fee, the service fee, the small order fee, the tip. The total is $38. You stare at the number. For a split second, your rational brain screams, this is insanity. That is almost 400% markup. But your exhausted, dopamine-starved lizard brain whispers, just press the button. Make the food appear. You press the button. You just traded 2 hours of your life for a lukewarm burger that will arrive soggy. You didn't buy food. You bought a sedative. You paid a premium to not have to deal with reality for 30 minutes. This is the pattern. Do you see it? It's not one big decision that ruins you. You aren't going to go bankrupt because you bought a yacht. You are going to go bankrupt because you are dying by 1,000 cuts. You are bleeding out, one tap, one click, one swipe at a time. You look at your friend's story. They got the new phone. Your phone is fine. It works perfectly. It has a scratch on the back, but who cares? You care. Suddenly, your phone feels heavy. It feels slow. It feels like a relic of a past life. You go to the website. You see the trade-in offer. You see the monthly payment. Only $40 a month. That's the trap. That is the language of the slave. Monthly payment. You don't look at the total cost. You don't look at the fact that you are financing a depreciating asset that will be worth zero in 3 years. You only look at the monthly drip. I can afford $40, you say. So you sign. You add another chain to your ankle. You commit another slice of your future income, money you haven't even earned yet, to a piece of glass and silicon that does the exact same thing as the one in your pocket. You are living in a subscription model of existence. You own nothing. You rent your music. You rent your movies. You rent your car. You rent your phone. You rent your roof. You are a pass-through entity for capital. Money flows into your account on Friday, and it immediately flows out to Apple, to Uber, to the landlord, to the bank. You are a conduit. You are not a vessel. And this is the regret that is waiting for you. When you hit 30 and you look back at the blur of your 20s, you won't remember the coffee. You won't remember the burger. You won't remember the slightly faster phone. You will only see the void where your freedom should be. You will see the hundreds of thousands of dollars that pass through your hands, leaving nothing behind but receipts and anxiety. You are building a museum of consumption, and you are the only visitor, and the admission price is your life. Let's strip away the illusion of currency. Let's look at what is actually happening when you tap that card. You are not spending money. Money is a fiction. It is a piece of paper, a number on a server. You are spending life. You open your banking app on Friday. You see the deposit. It feels like a reward. It feels like income. But look closer. Look at the pay stub. Look at the hours logged. You sat in that chair under those lights, listening to that manager drone on for 40 hours this week. You traded 40 hours of your limited, non-renewable existence for that number. Now do the math, the real math. Take your paycheck, divide it by the hours you worked. Now subtract the commute, subtract the time you spent getting ready, subtract the time you spent decompressing because the job drained you. What is your actual hourly rate? Let's say, after taxes and reality, it's $20 an hour. Now go back to that night out from Friday, the one where you spent $200 to feel important. You didn't spend $200. You spent 10 hours. You walked into that office at 9:00 a.m. on Monday, and you worked until 7:00 p.m. purely to pay for 4 drinks and an Uber ride that you barely remember. You gave the system an entire day of your life, a day you will never, ever get back, just to rent a feeling of status for 3 hours. This is the exchange rate of your misery. Every time you buy something, you are engaging in a transaction with the Grim Reaper. You are saying, I value this pair of sneakers more than I value 30 hours of my freedom. You are saying, I value this car lease more than I value the option to quit the job I hate. And this is where the regret begins to fester. This is the gut punch. You realize that you are not working to build a future. You are working to pay off the past. Look at your credit card statement. Look at the charges from last month. That dinner. You're still working for it today. That vacation from 6 months ago. You are waking up tomorrow morning at 6:00 a.m. to pay for it. You are a time traveler, but in the worst possible way. You are a slave to your past self. The you from 6 months ago made a decision to ball out, and the you of today is shackled to a desk to foot the bill. You have inverted the natural order of wealth. Wealth is supposed to buy you time. That is the only purpose of money, to buy back your autonomy, to allow you to wake up and say, I own this day. But you are using money to sell your time. You are selling your future Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays to pay for the dopamine hit you got last Saturday. And here is the darkest part of this dynamic, the part that keeps you awake at night. You hate your job. Maybe not hate, but you don't love it. You tolerate it. You want to leave. You want to start a business or travel or just take a month off to breathe. But you can't. You literally cannot afford to stop moving. Because the overhead of your lifestyle is so heavy, you require that paycheck just to stay at zero. You have built a golden cage. You upgraded the apartment, so now you need the raise. You leased the luxury car, so now you need the bonus. You have handed your boss the whip. You walk into performance reviews terrified, not because you're bad at your job, but because you are financially fragile. You swallow your pride. You accept the disrespect. You stay silent when you should speak up. Why? Because you have a master. Your master isn't the boss. Your master is the debt. Your master is the lifestyle. The boss is just the middleman, collecting the rent on your soul. You think you are free because you can choose between Netflix and Hulu. You think you are free because you can choose between the black denim or the blue denim. That isn't freedom. That is consumer choice. Freedom is the ability to say no. And you have sold your no for a collection of things that are currently depreciating in your closet. This is the trap of your 20s. You think you have time. You think, I'll get serious about money in my 30s. But the compound interest of stupidity is just as powerful as the compound interest of wealth. Every dollar you waste now isn't just a dollar. It is a seed of freedom that you dug up and ate before it could grow. You are eating your own seed corn. You are cannibalizing your future to feed your present ego. And the tragedy is, you don't even realize you're doing it until the gray hairs start coming in, and you look at the calendar, and you realize you have been running on this wheel for a decade, and you haven't moved an inch. You tell yourself a story. You say, I have good taste. You say, I just appreciate quality. You say, this is my style. Pause. No, it isn't. You don't have a style. You have a programming. You are a biological machine running a software code written by a French philosopher named René Girard, and the name of the code is mimetic desire. This is the psychological foundation of your poverty. This is the engine of your regret. Here is the uncomfortable truth. You have never desired anything in your entire life. You only desire what other people desire. Gerard discovered that human desire is not a straight line. It is not you right arrow object. It is a triangle. You right arrow the model, right arrow the object. You look at the model, the influencer, the cool friend, the celebrity, the successful peer. You see them holding the object. You see the handbag. You see the car. You see the specific vacation spot in Chelum. But you don't actually want the bag. The bag is just leather and metal. It has no intrinsic soul. What you want is the status of the person holding it. You believe that if you acquire the object, you will acquire their essence. You think that by purchasing the prop, you become the protagonist. You are trying to buy a personality. You are trying to buy an identity. So you buy the thing, you swipe the card, you put on the jacket, and for a fleeting second you feel it, you feel like them. But then the feeling evaporates. The jacket is just a jacket. You are still you. You still have the same anxieties, the same insecurities, the same void in your chest. So what do? You find a new model. You find a new object. You start the cycle again. This is why you are broke. You are trapped in a status game that has no finish line. You are competing in a tournament of signals. Evolution wired you to care about status because, for 100,000 years, status meant survival. If you were the high-status primate, you got the food, you got the mate, you lived. But today, that software is glitching. You are signaling wealth to people who do not care about you. You are destroying your actual survival, your financial future, to fake your social survival, your image. Think about the logo. You pay extra for the logo. Why? If you were rational, you would pay less for a shirt with a logo because you are advertising for the company. They should be paying you. But you pay a premium to be a walking billboard. Why? Because the logo is a totem. It is a signal that says, I am part of the tribe that can afford to waste money. That is the definition of luxury, the proof of waste. You are proving you are rich by wasting resources. It is the peacock's tail. The peacock grows a heavy, useless, colorful tail to show the peahen, look at me. I am so strong I can survive even with this massive handicap. You are doing the same thing. You are leasing the BMW to say, look at me. I am so successful I can survive even with this massive monthly payment. But the difference is, the peacock can actually afford the tail. You cannot. You are a weak bird gluing fake feathers to your ass and hoping the predators don't notice you can't fly. This mimetic trap is absolute. It dictates your hobbies. Why did everyone suddenly start making sourdough? Mimetic desire. Why is everyone suddenly into pickleball? Mimetic desire. Why do you suddenly need a specific type of water bottle that costs $40? Because they have it. And the market knows this. The entire economy is built on leveraging this psychological glitch. They don't sell you products. They sell you the hallucination of belonging. They show you the model, they hide the debt, and they wait for you to copy. If you don't break this triangle, you will never be free. You will spend your 20s chasing the ghost of other people's lives. You will curate an Instagram feed that looks like a magazine, while your bank account looks like a crime scene. You have to decide. Do you want to look rich or do you want to be free? Because you cannot do both. Looking rich is expensive. Being free requires the courage to look average. It requires the courage to drive the dented car, to wear the old clothes, to opt out of the triangle. It requires you to kill the model. You walk into the dealership, or you scroll through the checkout page. You see the price tag, $30,000, or maybe just $2,000 for that new laptop. Your brain flinches, the survival instinct kicks in. That is too much, it says. We cannot survive that loss. But then the salesman or the algorithm smiles. He slides the piece of paper across the desk. He changes the frame. Don't look at the total, he says. It's only $400 a month. And your brain relaxes. The tension evaporates. $400. You have $400. You can survive $400. You sign. You just fell for the oldest trick in the book of human slavery. You have been hacked by hyperbolic discounting. Your brain is wired to value immediate pleasure significantly more than future pain. Evolution didn't design you to think about 5 years from now. Evolution designed you to survive today. So when you are offered a reward now in exchange for pain later, your brain discounts the pain to almost zero. You are biologically terrible at understanding exponential consequences. The monthly payment is the drug. It is the anesthetic that allows the bank to perform surgery on your wallet without you screaming. They are relying on the fact that you are bad at math. Not the math of addition and subtraction, but the math of time. When you agree to $400 a month for 72 months, you aren't thinking about month 45. You aren't thinking about the fact that in 4 years, the car will be scratched. The new smell will be gone. The tires will need replacing. And you will still be paying that same $400 for a car you are sick of driving. You are decoupling the pleasure of consumption from the pain of payment. In a cash economy, the pain is immediate. You hand over the stack of bills. You feel the physical loss. It hurts. That hurt is a feedback loop. It stops you from doing stupid things. Credit destroys that feedback loop. You swipe. There is no pain. There is only the beep. The pleasure is instant. The pain is delayed by 30 days. And because the pain is delayed, you don't learn. You don't associate the spending with the loss. You associate the spending with the having. You are training yourself to be a rat pressing a lever for pellets, ignoring the fact that the lever also shocks you an hour later. And here is the shadow truth about your role in this. You like the deception. You want to be lied to. You want the salesman to tell you it's affordable. You are complicit in the con. Because if you looked at the total cost of ownership, the interest, the insurance, the opportunity cost, you would have to admit that you can't afford the lifestyle you want. And your ego cannot handle that admission. So you embrace the monthly payment model because it allows you to role play as a wealthy person. It allows you to bypass the gatekeepers of reality. But understand what you are signing. Debt is not a tool. Debt is a claim on your future labor. When you have debt, you do not own your future. The bank owns it. The bank owns your Tuesday morning 3 years from now. The bank owns your sweat. The bank owns your stress. You think you are the customer. You are the product. The credit card company calls those who pay off their balance every month deadbeats. That is the industry term, deadbeats, because they make no money off them. They call people like you, people who pay the minimum, people who carry a balance, people who live on the monthly payment, revolvers. You are a revolver. You are the ideal prey. You are the one paying for the CEO's third house. You are the one funding the perks that the deadbeats enjoy. You are the battery. Every time you click, buy now, pay later, you are tightening the collar around your own neck. You are telling the world, I have no impulse control, so please, charge me 20% interest for the privilege of acting like a child. This is why you are stuck. You are not fighting a fair fight. You are fighting against armies of PhDs, behavioral psychologists, and algorithms designed to bypass your logic and hit your dopamine receptors directly. But you have to wake up. You have to realize that affordability is not, can I make the payment? Affordability is, can I buy this twice in cash and not lose sleep? If the answer is no, you can't afford it. You are just renting it from your future misery. Let's talk about the money you don't see. You look at your bank account. You see the balance go down by $50. You think, I lost $50. Wrong. You didn't lose $50. You killed a soldier. You murdered a worker that was supposed to be building your castle while you slept. This is the first deep dive, the compound cost of ignorance. You are financially illiterate because you only see the price tag. You do not see the opportunity cost. Let's look at that car again, the one you need for your image. You put down $30,000, or maybe you pay $500 a month for 5 years. That's $30,000 total. You think the car cost $30,000. But if you had taken that same $30,000 at age 25 and put it into a boring, unsexy index fund and let it sit there, let's look at the ghost of that money. At age 65, that $30,000 would have been roughly $1.3 million. Read that again. You didn't buy a $30,000 car. You bought a $1.3 million Honda Civic. You are driving a vehicle that cost you your retirement. You are driving a vehicle that cost you 10 years of freedom. Every time you turn the key in the ignition, you should hear the sound of your future self screaming. This is the unseen destruction of your 20s. Every dollar you spend in your 20s is worth exponentially more than a dollar you spend in your 50s. Your money has the superpower of time. It is the only time in your life your money has this power. When you are 20, $1 is a seed that can grow into a forest. When you are 50, $1 is just a dollar. The seed is dead. The soil is dry. But you are eating the seeds. You are walking through the forest of your future, cutting down the saplings to use as toothpicks. But I need to enjoy my life now, you scream. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. There it is, the nihilist's defense, the favorite lie of the financially irresponsible. Statistically, you are not going to get hit by a bus. Statistically, you are going to live to be 85. And statistically, you are going to be miserable for the last 30 years of that life because young you decided that a weekend in Vegas was more important than old you having dignity. You are stealing from an old person, and that old person is you. Imagine meeting your 60-year-old self. They are tired. They are still working a job they hate. They have bad knees. They are stressed about the heating bill. They look at you, young, vibrant, full of potential. They ask you, where is the money? Where is the security I was supposed to have? And you have to look them in the eye and say, I spent it on Uber Eats. I spent it on a car lease to impress a girl who doesn't remember my name. I spent it on clothes that are currently in a landfill. That is the reality. You are not just wasting money. You are obliterating options. Every $1,000 you waste now is a month of freedom you deleted from the future. $5,000. That's 6 months you could have taken off to raise your child. Gone. $10,000. That's the fuck you money that would have let you quit the toxic boss. Gone. You are stripping the armor off your future self, leaving them naked and vulnerable to the world, just so you can have a slightly nicer phone today. This is the compound cost. It's not linear. It's geometric. The hole you are digging isn't getting deeper by the foot. It is getting deeper by the mile. And the system relies on this. The system relies on you not understanding the difference between linear math, your paycheck, and exponential math, wealth. They teach you to work for linear money. Trade an hour, get $20. They hide the exponential money. Invest a dollar, get infinite returns over time. As long as you are blind to opportunity cost, you will always be poor. You will always be chasing the next paycheck, unaware that you are walking past diamonds to pick up pennies. You need to stop looking at the price. Start looking at the ghost. Look at the millions that could have been if you just had the discipline to say no. You are sitting at your desk. It's 3:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. The fluorescent lights are humming. Your boss just sent an email that made your stomach drop. You feel trapped. You feel small. So what do? You open a new tab. You don't even think about it. It's automatic. Your fingers type the URL of your favorite clothing brand or Amazon or that tech site. You start scrolling. And immediately your breathing changes. The tightness in your chest loosens. You see the shoes. You see the gadget. You imagine yourself owning it. You imagine the new you wearing those shoes. The new you isn't stressed. The new you is confident, successful, happy. Click add to cart. Click checkout. For 5 seconds, you feel godlike. You feel control in a life where you have none. This is the dopamine slot machine. You are not shopping. You are self-medicating. You are using consumerism as a coping mechanism for the misery of your existence. And here is the sick irony of the trap you have built. You are spending money to numb the pain of the job you have to work to earn the money you are spending. Read that again. It is a perfect, closed loop of self-destruction. You work a job that drains you. You get stressed and unhappy. You buy things to feel better, retail therapy. You run out of money. You are forced to work more at the job that drains you to pay for the things. You get more stressed. You are a hamster running on a wheel made of credit card receipts. You are powering your own prison. I deserve a treat, you say. I worked hard. That is the voice of the addict. Does the alcoholic deserve a drink because he had a hard day? Maybe, but it's still killing him. You are doing the exact same thing. You are treating your emotional wounds with financial poison. And the technology knows this. Look at how online shopping is designed. It is not designed like a store. It is designed like a casino. The infinite scroll, that's the slot machine spinning. The only three left in stock, red text. That's the flashing lights inducing panic. The flash sale ends in 10 minutes. That is the artificial urgency to bypass your frontal lobe. They have gamified your poverty. And let's talk about the unboxing. You order the package. Now you have something to look forward to. For 3 days, you have a reason to get out of bed. The package is coming. It arrives. You see the box on the porch. Your heart rate spikes. You bring it inside. You cut the tape. You pull out the item. And for exactly 45 seconds, you feel complete. Then you put the item on the shelf. You put the shirt in the closet. And the feeling vanishes. The dopamine crashes. You are back in the room. You are back in your life. The item didn't change anything. You are still lonely. You are still stressed. You are still insecure. But now you are pure. And now you need another hit. So you go back to the screen. This is why you have a closet full of clothes with the tags still on them. This is why you have gadgets in drawers that you never use. You weren't buying the object. You were buying the anticipation. You were buying the brief moment of hope that this purchase would be the one to fix you. But nothing you can buy will fix the hole in your soul. If you do this in your 20s, you are training your brain that spending equals happiness. You are wiring your neural pathways to reach for the wallet every time you feel sad or bored or anxious. You are becoming an emotional infant who needs a shiny toy to stop crying. And the regret comes when you realize that while you were busy buying distractions, you forgot to build a life you didn't need to escape from. You are medicating a disease that you are actively causing. You are the arsonist and the firefighter, burning down your own financial house just so you can feel the rush of putting it out. Stop the scroll, close the tab, sit in the discomfort. The only way out is to stop the medication and cure the actual sickness. The fact that you built a life that requires anesthesia to tolerate. Deep dive angle 3, the asset versus liability mindset. Let's look at your investments. You bought a car. You tell people it's an asset. You bought a high-end watch. It holds its value. You bought designer sneakers. They're collectibles. Pause. Wrong. These are not assets. These are liabilities masquerading as wealth. You have been tricked by the definition of rich. In your mind, and in the mind of 99% of people in their 20s, rich means having nice stuff. It means owning the symbols of wealth. But in the real world, the world of freedom, rich has nothing to do with stuff. Here is the only definition that matters. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. Does your car pay you? No, it eats gas, insurance, and repairs. It is a liability. Does your watch pay you? No, it sits on your wrist and risks getting scratched. It is a liability, or at best, a non-performing store of value. Do your sneakers pay you? No, they degrade with every step. You are filling your life with liabilities and calling it building a lifestyle. True wealth is invisible. True wealth is the stock portfolio you don't talk about. It is the rental property that deposits rent while you sleep. It is the business equity that compounds without your daily input. True wealth is boring. It is silent. It doesn't sparkle. But you are addicted to the sparkle. You are playing the game of looking rich instead of being rich. Looking rich is easy. You can look rich tomorrow with a credit card and a trip to the mall. You can look like a millionaire while having negative net worth. Being rich is hard. It requires you to look poor. It requires you to drive the 2012 Toyota Camry, while your friends drive the 2024 BMW. It requires you to wear the $20 t-shirt, while your friends wear the $200 logo. It requires you to say, I can't afford that, even when you technically have the cash in your account, because that cash has a job to do, and its job is not to buy drinks. Its job is to breed more cash. This is the psychological chasm you must cross. Can you handle the ego hit? Can you handle being the guy who drives the beater? Can you handle being the girl who wears the same dress to 3 weddings in a row? Can you handle people thinking you are struggling, when in reality you are stacking? Most people can't. Their ego is too fragile. They need the validation of the prop. They are asset light and liability heavy. And this imbalance is what kills them. When a recession hits, and it always hits, the person with the stuff is ruined. They have high overhead, car payments, mortgage, credit card bills, and zero income-generating assets. They are forced to sell their stuff at a loss just to survive. The person with the assets, they survive, they thrive. They buy the stuff from the desperate people for pennies on the dollar. You are currently positioning yourself to be the desperate seller. You are loading up on things that rust, rot, and depreciate. You are ignoring the things that grow, compound, and protect. You need to invert your entire worldview. Stop asking, what can I buy with this money? Start asking, how can this money buy me freedom? Stop admiring the guy in the Ferrari. He might be drowning in debt. He might be one missed paycheck away from repossession. Start admiring the guy in the faded jeans who walks with a lightness in his step because he owns his time. He doesn't have a boss. He doesn't have a schedule. He has assets. The Ferrari is a cage. The assets are the key. If you spend your 20s collecting keys, your 30s will be a masterclass in freedom. If you spend your 20s collecting cages, your 30s will be a prison sentence. Which collection are you building? Stop looking at the banks. Stop looking at the credit card companies. Stop looking at the influencers, the economy, or the price of housing. Look in the mirror. This is the hardest part of the entire film. This is the moment you want to turn this off. Because up until now, we have framed you as a victim of predatory algorithms, a victim of psychology, a victim of a rigged system. And that feels good. It feels safe to be a victim. But here is the radioactive truth. You are not a victim. You are a volunteer. The system is a trap, yes, but you are the one walking into it day after day with your eyes wide open. You are the one typing the card number. You are the one signing the lease. You are the one saying yes when you should be screaming no. Why? Why do you keep choosing this? Why do you keep setting fire to your own future? It's not because you're stupid. It's because your ego is running the show. You have a shadow commitment to looking successful that is stronger than your commitment to actually being successful. You are terrified of being seen as average. You are terrified of the silence that comes when you stop signaling. If you strip away the brands, the lease, the trips, and the dinners, who are you? You are afraid that the answer is nobody. So you pay the tax. You pay the existence tax to the economy just to feel like you matter. You are renting your own self-esteem from Visa and MasterCard. And here is the even darker psychological truth. Part of you wants to be in debt. As long as you are in debt, you have an excuse. I can't start that business. I have bills to pay. I can't quit this soul-sucking job. I have a car note. I can't take a risk. I have negative net worth. Your financial struggle is a warm blanket. It protects you from the terrifying responsibility of your own potential. If you were free, truly free, with money in the bank and no debt, you would have no excuse not to be great. You would have no excuse not to chase your dreams. And that is terrifying. So you keep yourself shackled. You keep yourself in survival mode because survival mode is busy. It's distracting. It keeps you from having to face the big questions. You are using poverty as a permission slip to be mediocre. Let's play the tape forward. Let's look at the ghost of your future if you don't break this mirror today. You are 45 years old. You are at a dinner party. Your friends, the ones who drove the beaters, the ones who didn't go to Chelum in their 20s, are talking about their rental properties. They are talking about their early retirement plans. They are relaxed. They are free. And you are sitting there, smiling, nodding, with a knot in your stomach. You are still renting. You are still leasing. You are still waiting for the next paycheck just to breathe. And the resentment starts to rise. You start to hate them. You tell yourself, they got lucky. They had rich parents. They sold out. You become bitter. You become the person who sneers at success because it reminds you of your own failure. But deep down, in the silence of the drive home, you know the truth. They didn't get lucky. They just had the courage to say no to the dopamine when they were 25. They had the discipline to look like losers for a few years so they could be winners for the rest of their lives. And you chose the appearance of winning, and now you have nothing but the receipt. You are the architect of your own cage. You laid every brick. You forged every bar. And because you built it, you are the only one who can dismantle it. But you have to stop lying to yourself. You have to stop saying, I'll fix it later. There is no later. There is only the compounding consequence of now. You have to look in that mirror and admit, I am the problem. Because once you admit you are the problem, you also become the solution. As long as the problem is the economy, you are powerless. But if the problem is you, then you have infinite power. You can chain you. But it will hurt. It will require the death of your ego. It will require you to be uncool. It will require you to be the person who orders water at the bar. Are you strong enough to be uncool? Or will you pay the ultimate price just to keep pretending? This is it. The movie is ending. The credits are about to roll. You are standing at a fork in the road. There is no third path. There is no, I'll try a little bit. There is only A or B. Option A, the default setting. You close this video. You feel a momentary spike of motivation. Maybe you check your bank account. But then life happens. It's Friday night. You get the text. Dinner. And you slide right back into the warm bath of the status quo. You order the drink. You finance the new phone. You tell yourself you'll start saving next month. Fast forward 10 years. You are 35. You are still waking up to an alarm you hate. You are still sitting in traffic you despise. You are still nodding at a boss you don't respect. But now the stakes are higher. You have a mortgage you can barely afford. You have kids who need things. You are tired, bone deep tired. You look at the younger people in the office, the 20-somethings, and you feel a flash of jealousy. You realize you had the time, you had the energy, you had the compound interest on your side. And you burned it. You realize that you are now an indentured servant to the choices of your past. You cannot quit. You cannot pivot. You cannot breathe. You are trapped in the machine you helped build. The regret is no longer a fear. It is your roommate. It sleeps in the bed with you. That is option A. It is comfortable today, and it is hell tomorrow. Option B, the glitch. You decide to break the code. You decide to become a financial monk. This path is not fun. It is not sexy. It is brutal. You look at your lifestyle, and you take a machete to it. You sell the car that is eating your income. You buy a ugly, reliable beater. You cancel every subscription that isn't keeping you alive. You stop eating out entirely. You learn to cook rice and beans. You tell your friends, no. You tell them, I'm broke. You let them judge you. You let them whisper. You embrace the social death. You wear the same clothes until they threadbare. You use the cracked phone. You become invisible to the cool crowd. But while they are getting drunk on credit, you are stacking. You are paying off the debt. You are building the emergency fund. You are buying the boring index funds. Fast forward 10 years. You are 35. It's a Tuesday morning. You wake up without an alarm. The sun is shining. You don't have to go to work. You don't have to do anything. Your assets cover your lifestyle. You are free. You look at the bank account. It's not just a number, it's a permission slip. It says you can travel. You can start a business. You can write a book. You can spend all day with your children. Your friends, the ones who judged you, are now the ones looking at you with confusion. How did you get so lucky? They ask. And you just smile, because you know the price you paid. You paid for your freedom with your ego. You bought your life back, one declined invitation at a time. The decision. This isn't about money. Money is just paper. This is about autonomy. Do you want to be the protagonist of your life, or an extra in someone else's commercial? If you want option B, you have to start right now. Not tomorrow, now. Open your bank statement. Look at the last 30 days. Highlight every single thing that was a want and not a need. The total number at the bottom, that is the price of your slavery. That is the amount you paid to stay in chains. Take that number and invest it. Take the card out of your wallet. Cut it. Physically cut the plastic. Unsubscribe from the email lists that tempt you. Unfollow the influencers who make you feel poor. Curate your reality to protect your wallet. You are in your 20s. You have the most valuable asset in the universe, time. But the hourglass is leaking. Every second you spend trying to impress the world is a second of freedom you are stealing from your future self. Don't let your 20s be the peak of your life. Don't let this be the decade you talk about forever as the good old days, while you sit in a cubicle at 40. Make your 20s the foundation. Make them the decade of sacrifice. Make them the decade of stealth. Build the machine that buys your freedom. The world wants you to be a consumer. The bank wants you to be a debtor. The algorithm wants you to be an addict. Rebel. Own less, live more, be free. The choice is yours, and the clock is ticking.